The Bible isn't just a book of random stories. It's 66 different books that come together to tell one story. An incredible one. About God's love for us. And now for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of John, chapter 13, verses 1 to 17.
Every year, thousands of Jews traveled to the city of Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover and to remember how God had saved them from slavery in Egypt.
He's gonna do it again! Gonna save us from the Romans!
Some people believed that Jesus was a king sent by God to take over and rescue them. So when they heard he was coming, they ripped branches from the palm trees and rushed out onto the road.
My cousin knows a guy who says Jesus brought a dead man back to life. Wowzers!
Crowds gathered as Jesus and his friends, including Peter and John, approached the city. Instead of riding in on a powerful horse like a king, Jesus rode in on the back of a donkey. The people didn't care. Many people hoped that he would put together an army and fight back against the Romans.
Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord.
Blessed is the King of Israel!
He could make himself king right now. All these folks would jump on board.
But after Jesus entered the city, he continued to teach and point people to God over the next few days. When Passover arrived, he sent Peter and John to a quiet place away from the crowds to prepare the Passover meal. They were putting the finishing touches on the meal just as Jesus and the other disciples entered the room.
Is the bread fresh?
Saw it come out of the oven.
What about the lamb?
Done to perfection.
Peter glanced down as the other disciples tramped in past him. Their feet were caked with mud and dust from the roads, and to be honest, his weren't too much better.
Ugh. Isn't there a servant around to wash everyone's feet?
Don't think so.
Peter sighed and turned his gaze to the place where Jesus was taking a seat at the table.
John, doesn't it feel like something's about to change?
What do you mean?
All those things he's been saying. I'm going to be lifted up. I will bring all people to myself.
The crowds keep getting bigger. Those palm branches, the shouting.
Peter's eyes gleamed as he turned back to John.
Maybe Jesus really is going to make himself king.
I don't know, Peter.
Well, the time is perfect. All these people here in Jerusalem for the Passover? It could happen.
But when Jesus stood up, it wasn't to make some important announcement. Instead, he rose from the table and removed his outer robe.
Wait a minute. Why's he got that towel and a bowl of water?
Before Peter could make any guesses, Jesus knelt down beside their friend Bartholomew.
Lord, what are you doing?
Jesus took one of Bartholomew's filthy, dirty feet and began washing it.
What? You can't do that.
When Bartholomew's feet were clean, Jesus dried them off with a towel and moved on to the next disciple. Peter gaped in disbelief. People wanted to make Jesus king, yet here he was, doing the work of a lowly servant. By the time Jesus had reached the end of the table, Peter had made up his mind.
Lord, are you going to wash my feet?
You don't realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand. Peter crossed his arms.
No way. You will never wash my feet.
Jesus watched Peter with compassion in his eyes. Unless I wash you, you can't share life with me. Jesus' words nearly knocked the breath out of Peter. Whether Jesus was a king or a servant, there was no way Peter wanted to be left out.
Lord, not just my feet then. Wash my hands and my head too.
A person who has had a bath needs to wash only his feet. The rest of his body is clean, and you are clean.
Okay.
When Jesus was finally finished washing the disciples' feet, he returned to his place at the table. Do you understand what I have done for you? I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, so you also should wash one another's feet. I have given you an example. You should do as I have done for you. Peter glanced at all of his friends up and down the table. Somehow he thought Jesus meant more than splashing water on each other's feet. Jesus meant putting each other first. What I'm about to tell you is true. A servant is not more important than his master, and a messenger is not more important than the one who sends him. Now you know these things, so you will be blessed if you do them. Peter and John exchanged glances. Jesus had really set the bar high, or rather, low.
All those people praising him. All those people who want to make him king. He wants to serve them. He wants us to serve them and each other.
Jesus had made it clear. The most important noble thing they could do wasn't to stand in front of a crowd and receive praise and applause. No. The most important job they had was to quietly put the wants and needs of others in front of their own.